Hello friends, I'm Valia. How are you all? I hope you're doing well. So today I'm going to start the fractions, and in the fractions I'm starting from your equivalent fractions. So tell me about what are the fractions? Yes, which types of numbers we call the equivalent fractions? Do you know about these things? Equivalent fractions are the fractions that have the same value but the different numerators and the denominators. For example, no, we can write it as 1 out of 2 because one is the shaded part and it has two parts, right? And it represented 1 out of 2, two equal parts, and it is represented 2 out of 4, right? And it has represented 4 out of 8. Now we can write it in this manner because all three are equal, but they have different numerators and the denominators. So when we multiply by the same number, both the numerator and the denominator, we can get these number. We can get an equivalent fraction. So 1 over 2, what is the equivalent fraction of 2 over 4? 1 over 2. And what is the equivalent fraction of 2 over 4 is? When we multiply by 2, both the numerator and the denominator, we can get an equivalent fraction of 2 over 4. So we get an 4 over 8. Understood? So multiplying the number, both the numerator and the denominator, with the same number to get an equivalent fraction. So how can I get 2 over 4 from 4 over 8? How can we get? We know when we multiply by 2, both the numerator and the denominator, we get 4 over 8. But when we divide, right? But when we divide, so how can we get? Let us see. When we divide by 2, both the numerator and the denominator, we can get 2 over 4. So I hope you understand. We divide the same number, both the numerator and the denominator. By multiplying or dividing both the numerator and denominator by the same number does not change the value of the fraction. So let us take another example. Yes, in this, we have 2 shaded parts out of 3. And in this, we have 4 shaded parts out of 6, right? In this, we have 8 shaded parts out of 12, right? In this, we have 2 shaded part out of 3. And in this, we have 4 shaded part out of 6. And in this, we have 8 shaded part out of 12. And these 3 are equivalent fractions. So by multiplying by 2, both the numerator and the denominator, by the same number, we can get an equivalent fraction, right? By multiplying by 2, both the numerator and the denominator, we can get an equivalent fraction. I hope you understand well, right? So if we divide, so let's take, 2 over 3, 4 over 6. When we divide the same fractions by the same number, we can get 4 over 6. When we divide 4 over 6 by 2, both the numerator and the denominator, we get 2 over 3. So we get these fractions by multiplying and division numerator and the denominator by the same number. So if the numerator and the denominator of a fraction are multiplied by the same number, we get an equivalent fraction. I hope you understand these things, right? So let us take a different question, and I hope you understand well. So let us find the equivalent fraction of 1 over 3. So what can we do? How can we find the equivalent fraction of 1 over 3? Let us explaining you, right? Right, 1 over 3. So how can we find the equivalent fraction? We can multiply by any number. So now we take 3 times 1. So 3 times 1 is 3, and we both The numerator and the denominators multiply by the same number, right? So we can get 3/9. So again, how can we get an equivalent fraction of 3/9? We again multiply by 3. So we get 9, and we again multiply by 3. So we get a equivalent fraction. I hope you understand well, right? So the next question is, let us find the equivalent fraction of 2/3. How can we find? So we again multiply by 2. For the numerator, we get 4, and by denominator, we get 6, right? How can you find an equivalent fraction of 4/6? We again multiply by the same number 2 with both the numerator and the denominator, and we can get 8/12. So now we find the equivalent fraction of 2/3. So I hope you understand that. Let us take a different multiples of 2/3. Let's take a different multiple slide. So I hope you understand well. So when we take a multiple of 5, we get 10, and again multiple of 5, we can get 15. So it is an equivalent fraction of 2/3. So when we again find the equivalent fraction of 10/15, so we multiply by any number. But remember one thing, when you multiply the same number, both the numerator and the denominator, the number which you have taken, both the numerators and the denominators multiply by the same number, right? So we get 100/150. I hope you understood well, right? So let us take a different example. If we have a number 36/48, now 36/48. Now if we divide 36 by 9, if we divide 36 by 9, so it gives 4, and if we divide 48 by 9, so it leaves a remainder, so it cannot be divided by the 9. So 9 times 5 is 45, but the 48 is not divisible by 9, right? So what we can do, we can take a number which is divisible by both the numerator and the denominator, right? So which number we can divide? We can take divide by 2, both the numerator and the denominator, and we get an equivalent fraction. What we can get? We can get 18/24, right? So this is an equivalent fraction. This is an equivalent fraction, right? If the numerator and the denominator of a fraction are divided by the same number, so we get an equivalent fraction. Now, next question, how do we get 4 from 1? We have a fraction 1/4. How can we get? We can multiply by 4, both the numerator and the denominator, and we can get 4/16. So now this is one thing is very important. I can tell you, when we adding the number in the numerator and the denominator by the same number does not give me the equivalent fraction. So let us take an example. If we have example 2/3, so now we add the number in the numerator, we get 4, and when we add the number in the denominator, we get 5. So this is not the equivalent fraction. By adding, we can get an equivalent fraction only by dividing or multiplying. We never get an equivalent fraction by adding or subtracting, right? It is very important part. What we have learned in this lesson, in this video, equivalent fractions can be obtained by multiplying or dividing the numerator and the denominator by the same number. We can only multiply or divide, never add or subtract to get an equivalent fraction. So I hope you understand these things. So thank you, friends. Stay blessed and enjoy learning. If you have any doubt, any queries, okay, you can ask me in the comment section.